I've been thinking about the boardworm so much.
Just that moment where she's like, oh, not the boardworm.
And she's like squeezing her tits. And the way that like she's like genuinely confusing Katya with something that feels very Katya in energy.
Right.
And then you see the actual clip and it's not sexual at all.
No, it's like a cheesy movie.
Like woman in distress. And T.S. Madison was like, this is sex.
Just watching all the clips. I need to watch the whole thing. I've only seen little snippets. T.S. and Katya together are everything. That energy is so perfect. I love them. These moments where she like says something and Katya reaches out just to grab
just grabs her. I love the "you are crazy" and the high five. Acknowledgement.
We love acknowledgement. Well, welcome in everyone. We are with Jessie once again.
Hi.
It was a delayed reaction for me.
I was trying to load what font I wanted to say hello in. I was like,
was that Helvetica?
Times feel very New Roman right now.
Okay.
The times are New Roman.
The times are Romaning.
Yeah, or maybe am I Ariel?
You know what? That didn't feel
I think
like
Ariel's more like this.
Yeah, Ariel feels a little more.
Ariel's like, hi.
Hi, it's me. It's Ariel. I feel like Comic Sans would sort of be a little doofy, you know?
It's a goofy impersonation.
My Goofy is the same voice as my Bill Clinton, as my as my Cher. It's all the exact same thing. Like, I did not have sexual relation with that woman. Yuck. Oh.
That's oh my god, you should have saved that for the Monster Mash.
Because it's monstrous.
Goofy Cher Clinton.
It's really monstrous, to be honest. I'm really actually excited to talk about that runway today.
It's fun. I wish they did it more. Okay, well, we'll get to it later.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We are talking part 2 of UK 2. Can I say my controversial opinion early?
Right off the bat?
Right off the bat? I know it's early for this. So I love this cast a lot. And I think I regard UK 2 as being one of the best seasons. And I think I still hold true to that as far as the casting and runways, looks, things like that. But the blatant favoritism towards Lawrence and Ellie is so apparent that I don't think I was cognizant of the first time. This is my first rewatch since the original. So I think seeing it week after week and having long blocks in between before seeing it again and not watching it in succession, suddenly I'm like, oh my God, this is like the Jimbo Candy favoritism from All Stars 8.
But do you feel like the way that Lawrence, like the temperature towards Lawrence from the judges felt different than the temperature towards Vivian? Because I feel like with the Vivian, she had very much a reputation, but I feel like that's unfair in its own right that with her, they already like knew a little bit of what she's bringing and like what she can deliver and her expectation level. But with Lawrence, like similarly, they had like seemingly a different temperature towards her than others. Is
absolutely
I think what we're getting at. So, but do you feel like it's different than the Vivians?
Yeah, it almost seemed like we had kind of talked about a couple different winners where it seemed like, well, we know what you can do, so we want to bring you in to crown you type energy. That's almost what it seemed like with the Vivian. Not to discredit her win, but it did feel like, well, we know that you're really good. We want you to be the representative of the UK. Where with Lawrence, it was sort of like Rue walked in the room, Lawrence spoke, and she was like, haha, I love that one.
This woman.
Yeah.
This woman is my woman.
Yeah. This is my horse in this race. And it's sort of different because Lawrence is like one of the very first of this archetype. Because I think Rue has had some girls that she's loved.
Yeah.
She's really enjoyed. But I don't know if those emerged right out of the race starting.
Race?
I think it was more like maybe episode 3, 4, 5. Typically, Rue finds her girl that she's like, I like you.
Yeah.
But Rue just sort of seemed to attach to Lawrence right away.
Do you know what I think is interesting about Lawrence? Is I feel like she's she's one of those queens where she's quite young,
Right.
but she plays older. All of her references are older. Her character in drag is older. I mean,
Like Jinx.
very much Jinx, especially on season 5.
Yes.
Because she was such a baby on season 5. I mean, she's slowly growing. It's funny because I feel like as she's aging, I feel like she's also pulling back her drag a little bit to be a little bit more like
Youthful.
yeah,
Sexy.
playful. But anyways,
still
like,
milfy.
yeah, I feel like with Lawrence, and I mean, there's a lot of queens who do this, but sometimes they don't get good reception from RuPaul, and it feels like it should be a hit with RuPaul, but it doesn't really click.
Yeah.
But this new generation of queens who revere and do that more old school drag.
Right.
I mean, Lawrence also has a lot of new flair to her, but I feel like her grounding feels very traditional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not in a bad way. Like, I think in a very good way, but in a, like, a very studied way.
Generation Ru.
Yeah. But, you know, it's interesting. So, yeah, exactly. It's interesting to see someone who's Generation Ru, but not like a fashion girly or like a quirky girly or like, I'm sorry, but like,
Lawrence
you know,
is not the pinnacle of fashion.
but, you know, like, I mean, like when I think of Generation Ru queens, I think of like Naomi Smalls, Lux
Blue
Noir,
Hydrangea.
London, Aquaria. Like, I think of girlies like that who
Sure.
like feel very much like studied to the show. And their drag is very like fresh.
Right.
And Lawrence is fresh in its own way, but yeah,
It's more in presentation.
yeah, the Generation Ru girls who are a lot more old school, I think I'm very fascinated by.
Right.
Because I think that's such a hard balance to have, to be very in tune with Drag Race
Right.
and all of the drag of Drag Race and all the references and the modernness of Drag Race, but also to hold so much space for the drag you're seeing in person that Drag Race doesn't really show.
Right.
That a lot of, I feel like, newer, like youth, kind of like if they don't see it on Drag Race, they kind of discredit it.
Absolutely. And we're at this point for UK too, where that's happening, I think, more severely.
Yeah. So I appreciate queens that hold space for the drag that is like, clearly you hold a lot of love for the older queens around you that like showed you how to do shit and probably
Right.
like got you in shape, you know? And I appreciate that. I think
Yeah.
that's cool.
It's interesting that you bring that up because they really respond well to that with Lawrence, but they did not like that about Joe Black.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's what I'm like saying is like a lot of the younger, well, and we found out last episode that Joe is like what, like 12 years old actually.
She was like maybe 30 at the time
Yeah.
that this started. Maybe.
The queens who are younger but play older sometimes don't get, it doesn't click.
Right.
Well, because even I'm thinking of like when Blair, her original presentation in season 10,
Yeah.
where she did a more like old school character, like,
Yeah.
and just other people like that. I'm thinking of Etc. as well, and we will get to her in Down Under, who I love, Etc. Etc. But anyways, yeah, I think it's interesting because
Very much so.
unless it's coming from a true old school queen, they don't always respond to that drag.
Yeah.
If it's coming from, feels like someone who's fresher, it's like, is this, do I like this?
Yeah.
But yeah, they love it in Lawrence, and
They really do.
really-
Since we're talking about her, sorry to interrupt.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything important.
Since we're talking about her, we'll jump ahead in the outline just to address her breakdown in this episode, because we get that moment while they're in rehearsal for this rusical.
Yes.
And she is crying, she is breaking down, and it's kind of early for this level of catastrophic breakdown in a queen. And it's so interesting because since the moment that Lauren walked in, Lauren Chandler,
Lauren C. Cheney.
Lauren C. Haney,
Lauren C. Haney.
Lauren Senny, like the Seine, the river.
Delete.
delete the account. That's in France.
I was like,
The
why are we
Seine's
here?
not in the UK.
Lawrence Thames.
Lauren Thames. As the
Lauren
moment that
Thames.
Lauren Thames.
That sounds like a sim. Juno Birch, like, Lauren Thames is fucking up my shit again. Oh, that was a terrible Juno Birch. Delete that too.
Delete the whole thing.
Let's restart the episode. Hi, it's Jess.
Welcome to That Sounds Gay, a podcast for queer people where we're joined with Jesse.
But yeah, I feel like Lauren's probably put a lot of pressure on herself.
So much. But she had been reading everyone and being really like sharp-tongued the whole time.
Yeah.
To then have this crack that was so present and then immediately jump right back into Lawrence Cheney.
It's interesting, right? It's almost like if Bob had a meltdown during Bitch Perfect.
This is comparable to when Jimbo had your wig looks like it had been dumped in the toilet. If she had done that in front of more people.
Yeah.
And if that had happened earlier in this season.
Yeah.
Because that was that crack where we got to see the real Jimbo.
Yeah.
And we got to see the sort of real Lawrence here.
Well,
outside of that strong character.
Because that's so interesting, because it very much feels like she's presenting with all of her, like, one-liners and stuff in the workroom and stuff. It does feel a little bit playing to the camera, like, the people around you are, like, instruments in, like, creating, like, moments.
Right. Plain Jane.
Reality TV mama. Yeah.
Yeah. Very studied, very present.
Yeah.
So the episode that we are starting in is Rats the Rusical. Rats. I am not terribly familiar with cats. I'm kind of aware of it, but I
know cats like the back of my motherfucking hand. You know who you married. You know that your husband and my sister, they were putting on the VHS of Cats at like 9 a.m. and they were watching it cover to cover, baby. I've seen it so many times.
So you're really familiar with all the tropes that are here.
Yeah.
That they blended into diseases like scabies. Scabies is not an STI. It is. I've had it. Name that queen.
Whoa.
Snatch game.
It's
early.
It's an early digit.
Early
single digit. It's pre-7.
Yes.
It's not 6, is it?
The queen that has said it was on the show multiple times.
Whoa. It is. I've had it.
The person they were imitating was on America's Next Top Model as a guest judge. Whoa. They're a fashion girl.
Wait, why am I blanking?
Jujubee as Kimora Lee.
Oh my god. I like forget about Jujubee as Kimora Lee.
That's the only line and it lives in my head. It is. I've had it. Anyway, what was I even saying? Oh, so scabies. That's one of the characters. But they mix it with Drag Race and make it like a Cats the musical if they were all auditioning for Drag Race.
Yes. Okay, so let me Cats,
spill your tea.
The Jellicle Ball that they speak of, it's really them auditioning, propositioning which cat should go to heaven, basically.
Got it.
And so
not all cats go to heaven.
No. But like they take a little escalator up to cat heaven at the end. They call it something else, but that's basically what you gather it to be, is like this one deserves to go to cat heaven. No, this one does. And at the end, it's that old disease bitch, Griselda, or whatever her name is. It's the woman singing Memory to the Moon that looks like shit because she used to be a wonderful, glamorous, beautiful woman. And then she got worked over and now no one wants to pay her dust.
Damn.
And so then Madam Filth gets to go to heaven in the end.
Interesting. Okay, so that's an interesting tie-in for the Drag Race storyline. I want to ask you before we get into crazy parts of this episode, because I don't have a ton to say about the Rusical itself other than the quality was really good. Like they all sounded great.
Yeah, good sound mixing, eh?
Yeah. What do you think about having a Rusical this early?
Okay. Okay, you do.
Glamazonian Airways was episode 2.
Welcome.
I live.
Okay,
Welcome,
however, I think Glamazonian Airways had an opportunity for everyone to shine.
Oh, very
I think Rats is very much like, is it Shade the Rusical? Season 6, the first Rusical, where it's set up more like a traditional musical where you have basically ensemble.
Right.
In some points.
Sure.
There are main characters and then there are other people who are there's like a trio, for example. Like also the rusical in Canada season 2.
Very that.
It's very that. Where you have these 3 filler queens who are ensemble girls, and then you have these main storyline people in the main roles, etc., you know?
Kardashians was like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about.
I think I appreciate it for feeling like a real rusical or musical because there's more bodies on the stage.
Right.
Having that many people, it feels more like a production.
Sure.
But from a competition standpoint, I appreciate the more new generation of like US musicals where it's like top 7, top 6.
Everyone gets a shine equally.
Everyone gets a little piece of meat. Yeah. Because I think some people are like doomed to the background. And that also can be like, then you're kind of up to like the hand of like storyline production, etc.
Carry On is crying right now if she's listening.
She was not every
She
woman.
was. And she was not a
She
comedy
was there
queen.
to win All Stars 2, baby. Never forget.
Poor thing. I should not laugh at her suffering. It is a travesty.
She's already turned it off by now.
Oh, yeah. she
was
said bye.
She was so offended. She hit mute.
Get the slurs off of my podcast. I am not listening to that. Yeah, no, I hear you. I think you're right. It does depend on what the rusical itself is. I don't feel like this was the most even for all the roles. There were definitely a lot of ensemble parts.
But it's very fun.
It's so fun.
It's a lot more enjoyable. Even if it's chaotic, I think it's a lot more enjoyable to see a stage full of performers and like when they're singing it feels full and stuff like that, you know?
I would kind of love if a rusical was like episode 1 type situation.
Oh my God.
That could be really fun, you know, and then do like a 2-part runway, make it just a massive episode. So at the beginning, we're backtracking really quick to discuss what I believe were production trying to create some storylines by allowing the girls to give it to them rather than to dig through and try and make their own drama. The girls have to vote for positions for each other. So they have Secretary of Shade, which is the shadiest queen, obviously. That goes to Ahura.
Yes.
They milk that storyline to the bone. They rub that knob until there's no skin left.
Wow. It's hot.
Do they not?
I mean, So, okay. I'm looking at the chart too of votes. I think it's very interesting. Ahura got 4 votes.
Interesting. Was Lawrence another high
Lawrence
one?
got 2 votes. She's second place.
Fascinating.
So Tia, Tace, and Tace knows her best. Tia, Tace, Bimini, and Ginny said Ahura. Ellie and Cherry said Lawrence. Ahura said Ginny. Sister
Liv.
said Veronica.
Liv.
Anyways.
Which is funny because Veronica defended Sister like crazy as the season went on.
True, they were kind of besties.
Yeah.
That is tea.
Then we have the trade minister, which is the hottest out of drag, and that's Tace. I don't feel like they go anywhere with this storyline.
No, I just feel like it's factual.
Yeah, no, it's just
I
true.
mean, Tace is like beautiful in and out of drag. They are like
Stunning.
otherworldly.
Yeah.
Tace was first place. Second place was Ahura, which they're a little cutie.
Yeah, Ahura's definitely a cutie.
Wait, who voted for? We got a vote for Sister. We got a vote for Bimini. We got a vote for Asttina, which is also tea. Astina's super handsome.
I would have voted for Jenny.
Ginny voted for Sister. Ew,
Yes.
I hate it.
Then we have the house, a leader of the House of Lording It Up, which is the cockiest queen, and that goes to Lawrence. And I feel like this gets used through the whole first half of the season up until the break. I feel like every storyline involving Lawrence is about kind of how she thinks that she's better than everyone. And it's a lot of Bob shut up storylines with her. People telling her to stop talking, to let other people have spots in the room. We talked about Lawrence so much, though.
No,
So-
well, yeah, Lawrence is still listening through all of this, and they're like, damn, these people. No,
They hate us.
I mean, I think it's interesting from a production standpoint, like if you're looking at the narrative of the season, they're putting so many eggs in Lawrence's basket right off the bat that you're basically forced to perceive them as a main character for the rest of the season. I feel like the way I talk about them sounds like I don't enjoy them, but Lawrence is a lot of fun.
Right.
Let me preface by saying, like, Lawrence is hilarious. I love their commentary. I love what they add to the season, but I'm just talking about like how their character is presented, like from a TV production standpoint. Like, you're showing us the winner right off the bat and kind of like waving them in our face.
Right.
And like, you're establishing them as a main character. Whereas I feel like in Drag Race, usually the winner naturally can establish themselves.
Right.
And I think that's the thing, is that Lawrence can naturally establish themselves. But I feel like so much of the airtime of the show is preoccupied with things having to do with Lawrence.
Yeah.
And it kind of, yeah.
I hear that. I think they do that quite a bit with sort of the modern seasons of Drag Race. I feel like they kind of did that to Sasha Colby. And we've talked about this a couple times, where Sasha can naturally present herself as the front runner, and she did many times. But there were also a couple times where it sort of was like, this is the winner. Look at her. She's it, and just dangled her in front of us. They did that with Lauren. I feel like Lauren. I'm going to keep calling her Lauren.
Haney.
Lauren Haney. They did that with Jimbo, with other queens that have presented throughout the seasons. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying. The last one that they give us is Baroness Basic, Tia Coffee. And Tia takes this storyline more than I feel like the girls do and runs with it.
Yeah.
By the time that we got to UK versus the World 2, I don't think I thought of Tia as being Baroness Basic. I remember her as being really funny and charismatic and maybe not having the best clothes, but just always presenting it with the utmost confidence.
Yeah.
And I feel like she was the one who ran this dry, and producers were like, oh, thank God we don't have to do this ourselves.
I think there's almost a bit of a power move in it, because I think that she was Baroness Basic because she was written off by a lot of the group. And like, she's Baroness Basic in the sense of like, yeah, her clothes are simple, like she's going to go soon. And she took that as like, oh, I'm basic, but XYZ.
Yeah.
So I think it was very smart the way that she handled it. And like, it's like, yes, you do take it as a dig, but you like prove them otherwise.
Yeah.
So I thought she handled it well.
She handled it great. It was a really interesting TV for me to observe, because if I'm not mistaken, Aiden and Heidi were assigned as being the weakest of their individual groups, right? And production really took the two of them and kind of ran with that. Like, these are the ones who everyone sort of is looking past.
Yeah.
So we're going to present them a little more. Where I don't think Aiden and Heidi really thought too much about it. Where Tia was really like, every week, well, I wore this because y'all think I'm basic.
Yeah.
I did this thing in the challenge because y'all think I'm basic. Production didn't have to do anything.
No, she was doing it. She was doing all the work.
She did all the groundwork for them. And I feel like that helped her a lot, because they didn't have to do anything extra to produce. You know what I mean?
Because I feel like she's so like wonderfully self-aware.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I know I'm basic, but I'm going to pretend that I'm extremely offended that you think I'm basic. I'm going to show you all this basic shit and be like, and you thought I was basic? Bam.
Bam.
Like,
here's a basic red flamenco dress.
Yeah. She's
Call me basic now.
She's queen for that. She speaks real.
I love her. So I want to talk about the runway really quick. Just ask some standouts. But before, do you have a photo of Rue's look from this week that you could look at?
I can find it.
I would think. Like to, because I don't bring up a lot of Rue's looks. I feel like season 7 was one of her best seasons. She's had a good handful of really good looks over the years. But this one in episode 2, it was this brown dress with all these ruffles. Oh. She has this gorgeous red hair.
Legs out.
She looks so damn good. It's a crime.
It's like she looks like those little. She looks like a chocolate fountain.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up this one because it was so solid, and I thought it was important.
Yeah, she's gorge. That was a gorge look.
Such a good look. So let's talk about the runway really quick. I just want to get your standouts. The categories surprise.
Sorpresa, sorpresa.
Thoughts about reveals?
Reveals are so tricky because they've been done like a million times on Drag Race now. And I think the thing is, like, most of these were not surprises because we knew that they were going to be reveals.
Yeah.
And I feel like the fun of a reveal is, like, not expecting it and the element of surprise. And also, like, I think nowadays, like, the real, like, interest and, like, excitement is if you have the ability to, like, hide something that looks like you're wearing something that there's no reveal. She can't take anything off or put anything out from that. And then it turns into something totally different.
Right.
I also love convertible looks. Like this becomes that becomes that. Surprise. It's a totally different thing.
Like Tyra.
Like Tyra, Detox, All Stars 2. I also enjoy stuff like that. But I think for a runway called Surprise Surprise, it really has to be unexpected.
Yeah.
And not a lot of these were just like...
Did anything stand out for you?
In a good way?
Yeah, positively. Not the secondhand embarrassment you got from Bimini.
Honestly, my favorite is Veronica's. Veronica's is a huge slay.
The Stepford wife?
Yeah, into the robot. I think everything else is kind of boo, honestly.
You know what I really loved, though?
Tell me.
I can't lie. Jenny revealing from one dress
Jenny's is a troll. I love it.
To the exact same dress. And it flashes to Michelle, like, lifting her eyebrow, like,
yeah.
what? That was comedy.
I love it. And let's talk about, we'll talk about when it happens, but Drag Race Sweden, Admira Thunderpuss, there's a reveal runway. She does something very similar. I think she does the exact same dress in like 3 or 4 colors. It's literally just like a Bianca Del Rio column dress, but she takes it off and it's the same dress in a different jewel tone. And she's very much like a Bianca, like aesthetically, like she's very like polished, like old school. So like you're not expecting anything crazy from her. So she comes out in this gorgeous column dress, changes into a different jewel tone column dress, changes into a different jewel tone column dress. I think at the end she circles back to the original color.
I'm obsessed with that.
So like stuff like that, I do think is hilarious, and I agree. I love Ginny's, and then she had her little bum.
Yeah,
her little fuzzy
her little
bum.
hairy butt.
Love that for her. I actually also kind of liked Hora's.
Yeah,
I love like a masculine into feminine thing, always, and hers was very clean.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those were the girls. Those were the girls who were girling.
Those were the dolls.
I mean, Taze looks beautiful.
But was the surprise gum disease?
The surprise was...
See a dentist?
Surprise, she's in the bottom. But she looked beautiful. She looked like a newly turned vampire with that blood on her face.
Very pretty. Probably one of the best mugs that's ever been on the
For
franchise.
a ballad, too. It was perfectly timed. She came mugged down on that evening.
Mugged.
How about
unit?
How about that baby bum?
Okay. So that does lead us to our tops and bottoms. We'll start with the bottoms first. Lawrence is there, which made sense. I didn't think she was very present. Cherry was there. And, you know, I didn't hate the look. I did think it was interesting that she had the balloon that had all the confetti in it, because it was the same black balloon that Bimini had on her body. So I almost feel like Cherry was
flop.
Can I have one of those balloons, please? You know what I mean? I didn't think it was that bad of a look. And I also did not understand the critique that she looked nervous. She looked the most put together in that trio.
So this is what I was talking about the ensemble girlies, because if you look at the roles, it's literally like all these named roles, and then Rat Pack 1, Rat Pack 2, Rat Pack 3. 2/3 of the bottom are Rat Pack. It's Rat Pack 2 and 3 in the bottom. Miraculously, Sister, Rat Pack number 1, she slayed, so she was safe apparently. But Rat Pack number 2 and 3 both being in the bottom. When you look at the like likelihood of the ensemble, if you land in that trio, whether it be on season 6, Canada 2, any other rusical we talked about, if you're in that trio, you're likely in the bottom.
That's a wrap.
It seemed that Taste did such a poor job that it deserved being in the bottom over anyone else.
Taste is confusing to me as well because Michelle's direct critique is that she had a problem with enunciation. And I had no problem understanding Taste's enunciation.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty clear.
The other thing I noticed about Taste is that she's got a line that says rat-a-tat-rap in there. And I've listened to Bing Bang Bong so many times.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't realize it was from Rats.
Rat-a-tat-rat, I'm a clap back.
Yes. And I heard that and I was like, Bing Bang Bong.
Yeah. All you fruits should be scared of me like the one I sent home doing memory.
Such a good ass line. And fruits because it was cherry that she sent home. Oh, and
her mind
calling them gay at the same time. Just brilliant. Brillante. So our tops are Tia, which I agree with.
Of course.
She
hilarious.
was so good. Hilarious, funny, really solid vocals. I love when Michelle is like, okay, so the dress, and Tia like leans forward and goes, no? I love her banter.
She's charisma maxed out.
Yes, and that translates all the way to UK versus the world too. Like, Tia is just gold when it comes to presenting.
Yeah.
It was just the fashion wasn't right. Ellie was so confusing why she was here. I wrote down, did they mix their notes up?
I feel like it should have been one of the either Ahura or Bimini.
Yeah, Ahura for sure.
I think Bimini's runway really costed her because that was such a huge flop. But I think Ahura should have been there instead of Ellie.
Absolutely. And then Veronica's up there, who absolutely made sense to me.
Slade, incredible vocals.
Really funny. You know, I would have subbed out Tia for Ginny, but that's also because I loved that runway. And also, I thought Ginny was really funny in that rusical. She sounded good. She was hilarious.
She was like the milk of the sixth rusical.
Absolutely. And I would have subbed out Taste for Asttina. I don't think that Taste was that bad. I thought Asttina was not great, and I didn't love her reveal either.
Astina's
pretty simple.
She could have gone either way because I feel like they could have easily said like you were this huge role and you didn't live up to it. You know.
And I don't really think she did.
Spill.
So Veronica wins the challenge. We
Slay.
have Cherry Valentine going home while not really doing anything. She was kind of Charlie Heidsing but pregnant.
Yeah, a sad park and bark. She held her face a little bit. Taste ate that ballad up. Devoured. No crumbs left. She was crazy. She was sick for that.
She was crazy. It's sad that Cherry went home this early because I didn't think that she should have.
I think she had a ton of potential, especially in the next episode. I think she would have let the children have it for this sewing challenge.
So let's get into that, into Who Wore It Best, episode 3.
Love this episode.
This is
Love this episode.
Love Who Wore It Best. First off, I do want to say we got DJ Jody Harsh for the mini challenge. Iconique.
A lot of people thought she was going to be the host of Drag Race UK.
Yes, I still think that she maybe should be.
I feel like she should have a little more presence in the series.
Yeah.
I feel like they should do a better job spotlighting these queens that they seem to care about, but don't actually do anything for.
Say it.
Turn it to Willem.
Yeah, right? So then they're told to pair up with their besties. What do you think about this pairing? And not telling them that they're about to go against each other. Because they edge this for a long time. They wait, if I'm not mistaken, they wait till after the walkthroughs to let them know that their partner will be the one that they're going to be high or low against. That feels despicable to me.
I mean, that's definitely for storyline reasons because all of these all these pairings feel genuine.
Yes.
They're all people who have real stakes with each other, who genuinely seem to want to work with each other. So yeah, they were a little dark-sided for pitting them against each other, but it made for good TV.
It made great TV. Veronica and Taste do get to choose the colors since they won the mini challenge, which was like a limbo thing.
Yeah.
Sister, and Ginny are together, and they're saddled with pink.
What color? I was gonna say, sorry. What color would you have wanted?
Ooh, you know what? I was thinking about asking that. I don't think I wrote it down in here. Either gold or black. Those, especially gold. I don't know. Pink is really great for drag too.
Yeah, well, let's revisit that
Yeah.
after we talk about all the colors. But
Yeah.
what were you gonna say
Sister
about
and
pink?
Jenny get pink. What do you think about them with pink?
Okay, they're like the last person I would think of for pink.
It felt a
If you
little
look at all of
sabotagey.
the pairings, they're the last ones I would give pink to.
Right.
I immediately think Ellie and Lawrence for pink, just
Same.
because I feel like they could do it. I think them, or honestly, a Whore and Taste. I think a Whore and Taste were the best for black as well, but pink just does not. Pink, especially for Ginny, feels like sabotage. I think
Definitely.
they should have gotten green. As
Green,
a
I think,
group.
would have been great for them. But our green team is Veronica and Tia. I think they would have been great in gold.
Absolutely. I don't think green was flattering for either of them.
But we did get the adequate dress.
We did, but we did get iconery out of it. Well, not to mention the greens they gave them were not stunning.
They were ugly.
As a lover of green, you know that's my favorite color. I also recognize it's one of those colors that has so many ugly shades.
Yes.
Because like blue, I feel like every shade of blue is like appealing to the eye.
Right.
Like they're all pretty. And like, I don't know, maybe you feel this with purple because there are
Yeah.
some that are like,
I love purple's my favorite color, but yeah, there's some shades in the lilac magenta spectrums
Yeah.
that can just read junior and old.
yeah.
That's the problem. Where green, something is like a visual assault about it.
When it moves to yellow, I would
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
and a lot of these were very yellow greens. When it's too limey and too like, yeah,
Not limey, we're talking about Brits.
please.
You know what's a great green? Olives.
I love olive.
Love olive.
Olive forest. I love emerald personally, and I think that's the brightest green I'll go is like an emerald. Because in certain circumstances, you can get away with like more funky greens.
This sort of
But-
avocado that's on your shirt is a nice.
Avocado, yeah, absolutely. But I think the one thing to be mindful too of is like though in satins and like dress fabrics, I say always go for the deeper greens because like
Right.
the lighter you go, unless it's in a really exquisite fabric, like of course like a silk like avocado colored thing would be gorgeous, but like if it's in a cheap fabric like a 4-way stretch, that just might look like girl,
Weird
you look
dance
like
costume.
you look like baby poop, you know. So
Shit.
so that's my thoughts on green as someone whose
shit.
green is their favorite color.
Green is a great color. Then we have Taste and Ahura for black.
Period.
Great.
It's the
choice.
fashion color, and I
Yeah.
think that any of the other groups would have struggled with it.
Yeah, I mean they were.
They're
it
the
for
only
this.
group that could have. Maybe Bimini and Asttina, because I think they could have done some cool, more like contemporary streetwear vibes with it. But I think Taste and Ahura were the girls.
Yeah. Well, since you brought them up, they got blue, and the colors that they used were so junior pageant. Like they read to me 16, 17-year-old my first Texas pageant.
Drag them.
That's what those colors and fabric choices
better
were. They
drag
were
that shade
so
of blue.
bad. But you know what? I did love Bimini's. We'll get into that.
Bimini's
but
was
the one
cool.
that Asttina used was just like, why did you think that was a good idea?
Asttina and Tia shared similar problems where it was like a lot of mattes, a lot of matte fabrics, and just like maybe the tone would be more interesting if it was bedazzled, if it was shining, but you're doing
Yeah.
a lot of like kind of odd shades in odd fabrics where it's like nothing is popping. Whereas like at least with Bimini's, it's kind of a weird shade of blue, but it's bedazzled
And it's lace.
sparkly and lace, and yeah, it's pretty. It catches the light.
Then our very last group is Lawrence and Ellie in gold.
And go.
I love gold. I don't think you can really go wrong with this. But it's odd to me that all these are sort of neutral colors,
Yeah.
and then it's gold.
Gold, a metallic, right?
Yeah. I think
Why
it would
not
have made more
red?
sense if this was white.
Oh, white.
You know?
White with black. I was going to say, why? Well, I mean, there's pink, but I was like, why? There could have been a red. There could have been a purple.
It
Yeah.
would be like if this was white and then someone else had emerald instead of green.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
It's just kind of a weird pop
Or-
of something that
Yeah.
is a little bit out of the other colors because these are all base tones. Gold is a shade of yellow.
Yeah.
But it's not the color.
And also,
everybody else got colors.
With what we were talking about with, or well, what I was saying is like these matte fabrics. With gold, everything you're getting is shiny or sparkly.
Right.
Everything is flashy.
Right.
And so like that's the thing, is everything is immediately drag ready as well. Whereas like with the blues and the greens and the yellows, there was no yellow. With the blues and the greens
And the pinks.
and the pinks, you have to kind of sift through the tones and the fabrics, and it's like, oh well, this one's drag enough and this one is like stage enough. Whereas with
Right.
gold, you have a box full of costume fabric, basically.
Right.
So that is an immediate advantage for both of them. I feel like Lawrence definitely took the advantage.
Absolutely. I mean, Ellie looked so good. We'll get into the looks in a second, but now that we've talked about those, what is the color that you would have wanted? I'm sticking with gold or pink.
Black. I think black is nice because you don't have to worry about necessarily being as flashy. You're immediately like, oh, well, it's black, so it's sleek.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have more to work with there. You have more to work with by having less to work with.
I see that.
You know how like you kind of are more creative with confines, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like not having to worry about like the shades and colors and tones and of everything. Like, you really only have to worry about your silhouette, and so I
Right.
think that makes you more mindful of your silhouette as well.
Definitely. So while they're unboxing their things, I wrote down a note that I thought was funny is Taste throws out a Lee Dawson meme. And as she's going through her thing, she says, "Are you joking? Not another one."
Another one.
Do you remember that?
I do,
meme?
and this was like really when like the Rue Caps were so alive.
Yes.
I mean, I think they're still happening, but I don't watch them anymore. But like, I feel like from season like 10 to like
Well, it would have been right before
maybe right before the pandemic.
the pandemic. So that probably would have ended right before 13.
Yeah, like 18, 19, 20. Those years for the Rue Caps were like golden. They were so good. Those All Stars 3 Rue Caps.
So good.
I think about those.
Naisha every single time is also one of my favorite memes that
Oh my god.
from one of the other I don't remember who did that one, but God, like Rue Caps were so popular for a little bit.
Yeah.
I love them. So in the walkthroughs, Rue asked Cheney to be sexy, which I hate when Rue goes, "Hey, change your entire drag for me."
Yeah.
Feels like sabotage. And also,
Sabotage.
I don't think Jenny looks good sexy. It made me uncomfortable seeing Jenny sexy.
Do you think if Tammy Brown had stayed long enough, she would have asked her to be sexy?
I'm seeing Tammy Brown with fake tits, like Jimbo-sized tits, and her tiny little body
Doing her little cha-cha walk.
with her hypodermic Sally hair that she always wears.
Yeah.
What is her? It's not hypodermic Sally.
From Hotel?
Yeah, is it hypodermic? Yeah, that hair, and then just like a butt that goes out as far as like Nina Bonina Brown's, and it's just like do with titties everywhere.
Tammy, why don't you do sexy?
And then Tammy comes out looking like a train wreck. Oh, that's dark-sided. Yeah, maybe. Or I just don't understand why Ginny of all people being told to do sexy when there are girls in that room who could have been asked to do that first. Lawrence Cheney.
And I mean, also, like, you can approach it differently if say, like, hey, I noticed that you have a very particular lane of drag. Ask them to elaborate on them. And then from there, challenge them to do something different. And maybe it doesn't have to be sexy, but just say like, well, I've seen what you've been doing, Ginny, but I really want to see something I wouldn't expect from you. So that's my challenge, is give me something I would not expect from Ginny Lemon.
Yeah.
Do something like that. Like, I don't know, I just feel like sexy is so like, because also like not everyone's, I don't want to speak for drag queens, but I don't think everyone's relationship to drag is like a sexual character.
Right.
Because, you know, there are some queens who like, they just ooze sexuality. And as soon as they get the hair and everything, they just like want to flip it and they want to crawl on the floor and be like pussy and cunt.
Bimini.
Slay. Yes.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like there are some queens who like that's not part of their psychology in drag. And like it's not part of like they don't do drag so that they can be like it's not for like that feeling.
Right.
That's not what inspired them to do drag, you know? So I feel like taking this character that's clearly this lane of drag and trying to make them sexy, it feels kind of weird.
It's really opposite.
It's like trying to make your fun, quirky aunt sexy. It's like trying to give Miss Frizzle a hooker makeover. You know what I mean?
Miss Frizzle. That took me out.
Do you remember hooker makeovers?
No.
With Morgan McMichaels? No? Okay.
Oh my god, wait. Maybe.
Is Morgan and someone else? Hooker makeover.
Kind
and
of.
then they made over random people on Hollywood Boulevard and they made them like get men to honk at them for money.
Rue was watching that before the walkthroughs and was like, I'm going to tell her to have a hooker makeover. You know what I would have challenged Ginny to do would be hyperfemme. I would love to have seen what Ginny's interpretation of hyperfemme would have been.
Yeah.
But maybe not for a design challenge.
Yeah.
Maybe in another category.
Well, okay,
you know?
so that's something is like, you could say like, oh, well, the characters we were seeing are a little more older. I would love to see a younger, more feminine Ginny.
Yeah.
A young, fresh, feminine Ginny.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to be sexy.
Right.
Because like, I don't know. Yeah.
It seemed like quite a leap for what they knew Ginny does, what they hired her to do. And nothing bothers me more than when they ask them to go outside of their lane. Like, so far out of it. I don't mind if they ask them to swerve on the road a little bit.
Come on.
But then to change lanes completely.
Yeah,
it
get
feels,
on a different freeway.
Right, because like they're not asking other queens to do different things.
Yeah.
You know? They're not asking Tace to go out and be camp.
Yeah.
They're not
make me laugh.
Make me laugh on the runway this week.
Yeah.
You know, they're not asking for those things for the others. So, do we want to talk about the looks? I do want to say the one thing that I thought was hilarious was Tia saying inadequate dress with materials.
I mean,
on my
yeah,
body.
this is an iconic voiceover. I was gonna say, what if we went color by color and
Yeah.
then say who wore it best, and then we
Ooh,
can
okay.
we can talk about it more if we want to.
Yeah. So we have Sister and Ginny.
Sister and Ginny in pink. So they said Sister wore it best. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Ginny is wearing a tube dress.
Ginny is wearing a pink tube dress that does not fit the torso because it fits the boob, so it doesn't fit her waist because it's not tailored.
And it's a stretch.
Yeah.
On top of it. So even if it was tailored at all, it would have stretched out. Yeah, I mean, I don't particularly love what Sister's wearing either. I'm going to be honest. I think something is a little bit off about the whole thing. And why is she green?
The face is interesting. I don't like she incorporated the fabric from the pant onto like a weird bib on the top, which I don't love. I remember the sleeves were like super long and then they scrunched up or whatever. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's a solid like 6 out of 10.
Yeah. Oh, we want to rank them like that?
Oh, I'm not. I mean, if you want to, but
I'd give this a 5. Ginny
Drag-
is like a 3.
drag them.
They're both kind of bad in my opinion. Then we have Veronica and Tia, and they said that Veronica wore it best. Okay.
Honestly, why do I like Tia's more when I look at it?
Because the way that she presented it was iconic with the arm swishing to distract so that they wouldn't notice how
That
bad
gorgeous
it was.
hair.
The bow, okay. I'm kind of live, laugh, loving the
That's
bow.
not a terrible handkerchief skirt she executed.
No, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's not good. But I mean, I don't really love what Veronica's wearing either. I don't like the shape of it or this slit that goes half thigh.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's committing enough to be a proper slit. The bikini top is a little ill-fitting, but what I do like
a lottle,
an axolotl. But what I do like is the lining.
The lime,
The
like
neon
electric green lining,
Yes.
is very hot.
That's really cool.
Super
against
hot,
this
and I
fabric.
also love that she's wearing ginger hair because anytime someone's in green with ginger hair, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It's just like one of my favorite combos.
Yeah. You know, Tia did this during the design challenge in UK versus the world, where she creates this chunky waistband. And I don't understand.
I don't think Tia fully understands her proportions.
Maybe not.
I think the ugliness of this dress is mostly due to like, you just don't know how to make your body look good yourself. You need someone else to tell you how your body is going to look good. At least at this point in time.
Well, and also fabric choices were wrong because this handkerchief could have been nice with the right fabric, and the asymmetry could have been really nice with the right fabric.
Yeah, she could have done that top in the fabric that the skirt is. A one sleeve, and made it like a loose, like more like a disco sleeve, asymmetrical one loose sleeve. And then like she should have had leg. I honestly make it a leotard with like a loose like billow sleeve, and then like tack on a bunch of extra fabric to give you like a drapey train. That's what I would do. I feel like that would at least be safe.
Yeah. Then we have Tace. You know, I really like the jacket, but I don't like the hair. I don't understand.
Well, we've already
storyline.
seen it.
Yeah, and it didn't make sense.
That hair once,
and they clocked that on the runway. I think this is a really solid look, though.
It's really hot. I mean, it is better than Sister or Veronica's, in my opinion. It's a stronger look than two other winning looks, but not stronger than the look she was up against.
I almost wish that they had changed the parameters after this, because I feel like it could have easily been maybe Ahura and Tace in the top.
Lawrence.
With Lawrence
that
and
would have been the top three. Oh, and Bimini.
Bimini was so good too. Like, just make it a top four, and then, scoot around the assignments of everybody else, because there were a lot of duds.
I feel like Tace, even though she lost, was still stronger than some of the other winners, just because her and Ahura were on a higher caliber.
Right, and then people like Veronica and Sister were bad. They may have won their category, but they shouldn't have.
But it was more like by default.
Right. It was because they had to.
Yeah.
And they couldn't give it to the other one, but there were a lot of duds. So Ahura looks beautiful.
Love this look. It's a little Parisian. And okay, also storyline wise, I feel like Ahura has been a little inconsistent because she's been presenting, this is only episode 3, she's been presenting pretty costumey so far. We saw the Wizard of Oz look, we saw the Peter Pan look, we just saw the bride and groom look. So we haven't really seen the fashion Ahura, which really emerges from this point onwards. I feel like everything from here on out, she's giving some of her strongest looks.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a turning point for her. She really establishes herself as like, yes, I am fashionable, I am fresh, I am funky. And I mean, this is just such a like cute, easy breezy look. It looks so effortless. I love the hair.
2 notes on Ahura for me. This is where we start seeing the softer side of her, because she's helping Tace a lot, and the storyline emerges even heavier next episode. I don't mean this to be hateful, because we don't like the queen that I'm about to say. This looks like if Redacted from season 4's poodle dress.
Oh yeah,
slayed.
Because I mean, totally
that dress that Redacted made was actually pretty nice.
No, I actually really like that look.
But like, this looks like a more upscaled version of that, because it's the same poodly hair, the beret, the black dress. Like, everything is very reminiscent of that, but.
And I love, like, I don't know if I can describe this, like, when it's a sewing fashion challenge and the look that they go for is very, like, what your brain is, like, kind of pictures for, like, fashionista, like, designer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is so, like, not cartoon, but, like does like in an anime, like, oh, she went to New York like for fashion.
Yes.
Like, it's just like that very like, oh, this is a quote unquote fashion look, where even if it's not necessarily like cutting edge fashionable, it's very much like you're presenting like as a fashion girly right now. You're giving me like avant-garde, like you're in Paris doing this thing.
Yes. Ahura in Paris.
I love that show.
Do you really?
I heard it got renewed for another. No, I've never watched Emily in Paris.
So we're practicing lying.
Emily when she's in Paris.
Emily when she's not in Paris, and it's Emily from Devil Wears Prada in the bed eating pudding and carbs.
Eating pudding.
Then our next group that we have is Asttina. Asttina. They said this was ice skatery, but I did not get ice skater. I got the anime reference she was going for.
Yeah.
The
yes.
fabrics were wrong.
The fabrics were wrong. She looked like a cheerleader.
Cheerleader, very much that. I did not get ice skater.
Just give her pom-poms, yeah. But even then, like, it's hard because, like, her style is very simple.
Yeah.
But I think she needed to do something a little more, like, contemporary, like, streetwear for it to work. I don't know if she has the sewing wherewithal to make, like, separates like that, though. Because that's hard. Because I don't think that she can fully translate her aesthetic, because that does require a little bit more sewing prowess than, like, if you're just a girl who wears a little dress, and then, like, a little dress is pretty easy to sew.
Right.
But, like, I feel like Asttina has a particular lane style-wise that is more streetwear, more
ASOS
like...
jackets.
Drag her, yes. Listen, that's probably expensive. She had to probably Klarna that jacket regardless. No, everything on ASOS is cheap, you know. No, it's true.
In the UK, they love the Klarna. They pay the once, they pay the twice.
Listen, some of those jackets are like $290. I don't know.
I've never bought an ASOS jacket, so I don't know.
I bought my prom suit from ASOS.
Did you really?
It was like $100 something for the whole thing. $140.
Wow.
Which wasn't honestly that bad.
No.
It was a blue linen suit because we were going for like a 70s look.
I feel like I remember that look.
Well, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know. This was
Anyways.
not very good. Bimini, though.
Bimini's is slay, and also good for Bimini because she's been struggling up until this point.
Yeah.
She was in the bottom, and then she had the balloon flop. We didn't really talk about it because it makes me sad.
I can't talk about it. It's one of the 7 layers of uncomfortable hell.
Yeah, is that. Yeah, but she really flopped last episode, so it's good.
Well, she did great in the challenge, though.
Yeah.
It was just the runway she flopped on.
She flopped, and it feels bad. It makes me
We're
cringe.
in the early part of her storyline where that break was so good for Bimini, and I can't wait to talk about her uprise next episode.
This is really the closest we see to post comeback Bimini in the first half.
Yeah. This look, honestly, I think should have gotten her the win.
Yeah.
It's like if the Countess was on Drag Race. This is very Countess to me. American Horror Story. I feel like I've brought up Hotel twice now this episode. I'm like obsessed with it.
Yeah,
right
you
now.
possibly also
Hypodermic Sally.
What was that? Oh my god. Are you rewatching? What's going on?
I'm not. I should watch it though. I love Hotel. It's a great season. I love the hair. I love this makeup. She looks sinister and frightening.
And it's a full
soft.
dress.
For Bimini?
Yeah, a floor length
Manila in a wedge.
In a wedge. But like, because her and Lawrence were the only ones who, I mean, what's her face? Veronica also made that line 2-piece, which is basically a dress. But like, I always am more impressed when you do like a full garment like this. A garment. And like, this is a to the floor dress, which like, that's a lot of fabric. That's a long ass seam you sewed. That's a long ass hem you sewed. So I respect that.
Yeah. And I mean, it looks like there's lace here too. And lace can look overworked pretty easily. And this is like a floral lace. So it looks like there's mesh lace floral patterns.
And lace is a pain.
It's a major
You know
pain.
that fancy dress, the red with it didn't have a lace overlay?
Yes.
You remember her.
That fancy dress, that took, I think, 12 plus hours to do. That was a long ass dress when we made that. That was my last number before the pandemic lockdown, I think. Second to last.
That really was your one chance, fancy.
That was my one chance. I
You
still
did-
never got my money from that. They never paid me.
That's sick.
Isn't it? It's disgusting. Then we have, what do you get from this Ellie Diamond look? Because we got Pirate, we got Panto, we got Wench, we got Saloon Girl. There were a lot of things the judges were throwing out about Ellie's look.
Yeah, it's like AI saloon girl, like Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
The hair is Marie Antoinette. The bodysuit with the little like thing in the back is like
Brothel?
kind of like brothel saloon girly.
But then she's got all these things dangling off her hands that bring it to pirate somehow.
It brings it pirate. Also feels almost steampunk the way she has all these like accessories on. Do you know what I mean though? Like if she had like a monocle and like a leather glove, suddenly she would be steampunk.
That could have been really hot actually to change it all up.
Yeah.
and add just 2 more details to bring it to steampunk, I think this is a really freaking cool look.
It is cool. It feels like historical, but no specific period in time.
It is a little misguided.
I will say the mug
Bitch, she is painted
crazy.
She looks nuts in the best way.
Yeah, the face is beyond for this look. So like props. She's always painted, but like I appreciate this mug more than when she does the kind of like girly, like
Yeah,
just like pretty, like ooh, like oh, I'm a girl. Like this mug where it's like this feels like kind of old school, and like there's just so much highlight. There's so much color.
and her body is right. The
Yeah.
hips and everything.
Yeah, great, really
God.
smooth padding.
Yeah. How are you? She was 22, I think, at the time. How are you 22 and this good?
Well, it's so interesting because her and Lawrence, they're both so young, but they're both doing such an older, especially Ellie's kind of a chameleon because she also has a lot of like young baby kind of like hybrid stuff.
Yeah.
But like she also has a lot of references that are super old school, just like Lawrence.
Right. That speaking of Lawrence, our winner, who I severely disagree with,
Ooh.
doing this sort of Golden Girls type situation here. The skirt is actually really pretty. I
The
really
skirt
do
is
like.
super well done, and I love that little belt with the
Yeah.
ribbon.
I like the big open cutout. She looks like a grandma who wants to be a MILF.
My biggest gripe is honestly the neck up. I don't like the pearls. I don't like the white hair and the
don't
white
either.
eyebrows.
The eyebrows are jarring to me.
If she had like an auburn or like,
Ooh.
you know what I mean?
Like a burnt orange.
Yeah, like just like a deep, rich, like something in the brownish orange family.
Ooh, that would have looked so hot.
And I feel like that would have looked better. I also don't even know if it needed to be an updo. Like, give me almost like Adele hair in this.
Oh, that would have been so
Give
hot.
me
Big chunky
huge,
bang.
just like huge drag Adele hair. And then like give me a more like drag, like the pearl necklace is also too old lady.
Do you remember the hair that Darian wore during the Shade the Rusical? For the runway?
I'm literally thinking Darian Lake hair. Just that huge,
Yeah.
the way she has that sculpted huge wedge.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it looks like Delta has hair like this too, where
Sure.
it's the caricature of a natural woman's hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's just huge.
Yes.
I love hair like that.
I live for hair like that.
Yeah, this needs some Darian Lake hair on it. With a
Agreed.
more like draggy necklace, draggy earrings, like some more like big chunky earrings and stuff. But the dress itself is really gorgeous. It looks
Yeah.
like it was made before this day.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's a really well-constructed dress. The fabric choices were really smart. I don't look at this and think fashion. I look at this and think really great construction. Where I look at someone like Bimini or Ahura and I think fashion.
And well, when it's a who wore it best as well, I feel that. Especially because like her and Ellie's look don't feel comparable, whereas like Ahura and Taste, like their looks felt a little more like fashion competing, and like even Bimini and Estelle, they're two different lanes, where it was like Bimini's really felt like a collection piece.
Right. I agree.
But yeah, I mean, still flawless. I think it was also like, it's weird that her first win is a sewing challenge,
Right.
but I mean, I feel like they wanted to give her a win.
They were jonesing to give her one because they're like, we have to establish that she's a front runner before it gets too late. Because if we don't do this now, when will we? And it looks like our first winner we're about to send home. So we need a new front runner since it's not going to be Asttina.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
Oh, yeah. Then we get to the lip sync and it's Don't Start Now, Dula Pipa.
Dula Pipa. We need more Dula Pipa in the U.S.
Yes.
They do so much Dua Lipa over there because she's a UK artist, but I fucking love Dua Lipa. Her music is so danceable.
It's so good.
One of the
Great
best lip
beats.
syncs we've gotten in recent years, physical, is to a Dua Lipa song.
yes.
So I just feel like we need some more of her.
She does good club music.
She really does. Future Nostalgia as an album is like really flawless, but we'll get to it next season. UK3, we get a lip sync to Hallucinate.
I love that song.
And it's so good.
Didn't they just do that somewhere else?
They did it on 8 as well. That's the one
Right.
where Jasmine Masters. Nope.
Not Jasmine Masters.
Jasmine Kennedy does the like cartwheel.
Oh,
or no, she
right.
does like a backflip and then into a front split.
Yeah.
Slay.
Hot. I want to say Tia really is like a master class of if you don't know how to like seriously lip sync, but you know how to make Rue laugh, do it and do
Yeah.
it well. Because, I mean, she knows how to command Rue's Cocomelon brain, you know? A lot of girls do not have that skill, and Tia just does. Masterclass in that.
She kind of sets a precedent too, because I mean we see like there's not really, I don't know, I can't really think of anything similar, because I remember there's obviously it's the edited upset of like Jessica Wilde and Tatiana, where Jessica obviously did a bigger performance, but Tatiana did a more connected to the judges performance.
Right.
This isn't necessarily comparable because this is more funny, but I feel like Tia almost sets a precedent with winning here, because we see in the future more so a queen who might not have any of the dancing abilities, but that doesn't mean you don't have performance abilities.
Right.
And I mean, honestly, if you go to a drag show in person, there might be that one girl who's turning it out and the crowd gets really loud for her and she gets a ton of money. The other 4 girls, they're walking around. They're hee hee ha ha. They're doing a mix with 4 different YouTube videos. And
Drag me.
But not, listen, I didn't say your name.
But you were looking at me.
I didn't evoke Yvonne or any of her other iterations. But you know what I mean? Like when you go to the club or like the bars, like there's usually the girl who dances.
Yeah, there's always one.
And there are some other ones who turn out the little moves, but like especially on a newcomer night, you're gonna see so many funny hee hee ha ha, like, more connect with you up close performances, and like that's what I'm used to when I go to see live drag.
Right, and Tia does that.
I'm not seeing 1,000,001 like splits and like crazy like choreography. I'm like, people are making me laugh and they're doing like little funny like gestures and things here and there, like blink and you miss it like moments. Like, so I think that Tia kind of sets a precedent for future girls who can still, like, you don't have to be the best dancer to win this. You can connect with the judges, be funny, make it your own.
Yeah.
Did you just see the thing in, it might have been Mexico, where the girl was crawling and another girl
dog walked her?
She walked her.
I screamed while watching on Twitter. If someone did that to me and I saw it on television, because you guaranteed it would be like the Free Willy. You wouldn't know that happened until it aired.
That happened.
If I got dog walked literally on RuPaul's Drag Race, I would delete my accounts.
Hiding.
I would never be seen
Witness
again.
protection.
I would change my name, new social security, out fleeing the country.
I would do drag as a woman named like Jane Woodridge or something. And like,
I would have to kill an Uber driver.
Hi, I live in Cerritos, California. I do data entry. Like,
I'm a temp.
Yeah.
And I my Uber driver just died last night.
Yeah, call me Denise Richards.
I wouldn't be surprised if we never saw her again. So Asttina is out, which is insane.
Crazy.
Especially after Tia slammed her knees on the ground the way that she did. Broke them, probably.
Okay, I know that we're on a time crunch, but like, I have one last thing. What is that? Because I literally just saw a post about this of like, the UK girls don't do splits. They do the knee slaps.
They slam
their knees. They don't really do the splits there.
No.
Like, and if you do splits, doesn't mean you're going to win. Like, more impressive than the splits is the knee slam.
More impressive than anything is that breakdance on the head that Michelle said, "What the fuck?
What the moving on to moving on up." All right.
Astina's out. Craziness.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that she was out. I was gagged.
Everyone thought Tia was cooked.
Yeah, I thought so. And they had made such a big deal about Asttina being a dancer and a powerful lip syncer, and no one could beat her. Tia Coffee.
Yeah.
Baroness Basic.
And that's the last time you'll ever call me basic. I think this is also where you see a juxtaposition between the audience and the room. I think the queens when I was saying like I think they kind of voted her bareness basic and like kind of like, oh well, she's kind of like whatever, she's gonna go soon.
Yeah.
I don't think they saw her in the same way we see her because of how we see her confessionals,
Right.
and how she's presented to us as such a hero. In the room, I'm sure in a competition it feels different.
They were like, this dud.
Yeah, this bitch is cooked.
Right.
But for us, it feels like, yes, like
Underdog.
yeah. So you do see like there's a difference, and like I understand why they're so gagged, because I think to them they saw Asttina as like a competitor, and like
They just saw Tia as someone doing drag for sillies, he's
Yeah.
taking up space in the room with them. But also, I think it was a little jealousy because she just gets Rue laughing. She
Yeah.
doesn't have to do anything, and Rue
well,
immediately gets
and
it.
if I was on Drag Race, I would be jealous of whoever connected with Rue,
Right.
Because I think that's ultimately what everyone there wants, especially the Generation Rue people.
That's the only
They-
person in the room you need to impress.
They know that they need to connect with Rue and make them laugh, and like I think if you can't do that, then like
Are you
it's
doing
like-
Drag
it's-
Race?
It's like it's frustrating to like when you're trying. Well, okay, Ellie versus
Lawrence.
with how RuPaul had that connection with Lawrence.
Yeah.
And I think that like a lot of her frustration, her whole thing of like, you will even say my name that way. I think it's really just
awkward.
it's a manifestation of like, well, you two have this great connection. Like, why don't we connect? Why don't you talk to me like that? Why don't you treat me like that?
That was so ballsy. Ellie's balls have got to be bigger than her
What
head.
episode is that?
That's this one that's
that was
coming
this
up.
episode? Oh,
I'm pretty positive that's this one that's
Yeah.
coming up. But okay, so let's talk about this last one for today's episode, Morning Glory. In the beginning, storylines are starting to emerge. We've
Yes.
got Tia's basic and bad at drag. That is being drilled into us. Lawrence is annoying and is bothering everyone. That cocky line story again.
yeah.
Ginny is not giving or serving. Tace
It's
and
not
Ahura
stunning.
are the competitors, and they're the ones to beat. And Veronica's the hall monitor, and she's sort of keeping everybody in line. And honestly, I think that this was the moment where they were like, okay, we have to show Veronica as much as possible. Because, spoiler alert for everyone listening at home, Veronica doesn't come back next episode.
Yeah, and she's really a main character for this.
Episode.
Because she was kind of a main character for Cats, but... Rats, sorry. But this episode,
Copyright.
she's really a main character. It's unfortunate that her last impression is kind of not a sour note, because I think her tiff with Ahura is kind of juicy and like it doesn't necessarily leave a bad taste in your mouth about her, but her performance in the challenge is it's a rough last outing for her.
Yeah. So the challenge that they have to do in the beginning is like a bake-off adjacent thing. And we've talked about wanting Food Network challenges.
Yes.
This was funny, silly, cute. Bimini wins. She gets to assign her role for the main challenge, which is like an improv acting of TV characters on like a news show.
Yes.
And then she gets to assign, or then everyone else has to fight for the rest, which I'd rather just someone assign it than everyone just argue, because then inevitably someone's going to get their toes stepped on.
Yeah.
This is a moment where Ellie asks Rue why she doesn't say her name different, when she could have just been like, we're from the same place.
Yeah.
You could say my name that way. Or anything. It was very like, is there something on my face?
Yeah.
Energy. It was uncomfortable. You could tell Rue was scrambling to be like, I like this
because
kid.
she's just like, okay, like you can make the point, but I think that there's almost a game to it. Well, okay, especially if you're being filmed.
Yes.
There is a game of if you want to communicate something, that you need to communicate it very carefully. Because I mean, I see this in Drag Race, I see this in other reality TV I watch, of like, you need to say something in a way that it doesn't break the fourth wall, first of all, and it doesn't make you look bad. It doesn't make RuPaul look bad. So you really need to make it a funny hee hee ha ha of like, I don't know how I would do it. I'm not that funny, but I'm just saying that, like, I think that almost doing it as an interrogation to RuPaul is not the route to
That
do
is
it.
not it
is
at
what
all.
I'm getting at.
She could have maybe just hammed up the accent and yelled her name and Ellie Raymond, and
Yeah.
done that just to be like, hi,
And
Rue, you don't say my name funny.
You're the delusional girl,
Right.
Who's doing that
rather than the one who made Rue
But
uncomfortable.
but being like, but why don't you say my name like that?
Right. And then the whole room, like Scooby Doo.
It's like record scratch. Yeah.
We have the television show, which, I mean, it was fine for an acting improv comedy sketch.
I think there are references that I'm missing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's a morning TV show, I'm sure, that we probably are not familiar with because it's different from ours.
Okay, but the guest judge.
Wasn't she on something?
Eggs with
recently?
Elsie. Princess Diaries 2.
Oh my God! That's who she was! I was like, who is this woman?
Out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Genovia mentioned again.
What's in the film canister?
We are always mentioning Genovia.
Drag Race Genovia when?
When are we getting the pear tree challenge?
Drag Race Genovia.
Please.
But yeah, that guest judge is freaking Eggs with Elsie.
Right.
Queen.
I was wondering who she was. I could not put my finger on it. The one standout for me, I mean, Bimini was hilarious, but
Yeah.
Ahura.
Ahura.
Doing that stupid ass over-tan character with the white blazer and the makeup all over it, being the Essex girls.
It's the way, because Lawrence wins this episode as well, right?
Yes.
It's the way that Lawrence won 2 episodes in a row, but Ahura could have won 2 episodes in a row.
Both of these.
Because she could have won the fashion challenge.
Easily.
And then she could have won this challenge. And I feel like if they hadn't have given if Ahura had won the fashion challenge, like, it would have been better. But the fact that she didn't win the fashion challenge is like, oh, well, she can win this. And then went to Lawrence again. It's kind of like,
well,
damn.
You're right. That sucked. Yeah. And the one critique that I had about this was the Weather Girl character. I don't think that has been funny since Yara did it. I don't think anyone has
Yara's
ever been
just
funny.
completely off script.
Yeah. Where, I mean, what did Ginny have to even work with? She was just, I don't know how you make that character funny.
Yeah, I just feel like it has to be some tomfoolery with a green screen or something for it to be funny.
And even then, I don't know if anyone would be able to do that in this group well. After the challenge, Ahura and Tia have this moment where they're talking, and we start to see Ahura breaking down a little bit more of her icy exterior.
Yeah.
Talking about how she doesn't have a lot of friends, she doesn't have drag friends, a lot of gay friends, just has a hard time connecting with people because of her personality. And she says that she looks like a bitch and that she is a bitch. And Tia just goes, yeah.
Yeah. I think Ahura has such a great storyline this season.
Yeah.
I mean, Tace is such an amazing foil to her as like a human because whenever she's a little too villainy, I feel like Tace just kind of like softens her edge.
Yeah.
And then just like, I don't know, she comes in a certain way and then she like has moments like these, and then like when they come back, you're kind of rooting for her.
Yeah, very much
because
so.
of everything that happens. I don't know. I really love a horror storyline.
I'm a big fan.
I think that they just do such a good job showing like so many different sides of her that I wish that like every queen had that opportunity.
Same, giving space.
Yeah, because I think that it was so cool to like, because a queen like Ahura is usually someone that you don't see that for, you know?
No.
You usually don't see it for like a bitchy fashion girl like that. Like she could have just stayed surface level in the edit. So it was so cool that they gave us all those layers, because I think it helps us root for her in the future episodes and see her in a different way and like really be so heartbroken when she leaves.
Yeah.
I love Ahura this season.
I'm such a big fan. Another part of this character archetype is we usually don't see this moment of softness until we're maybe in top 6 or 7. It takes a long time for us to get there. Violet got there by the time we got to the makeover. She's a character who's very much like this bitchy fashion girl.
Yeah.
But we really don't see that cracking until late season, where Ahura gets this early, which is kind of fun. Our tops for the week are Bimini, Lawrence, and Ahura, and the bottoms are Veronica's sister and Ginny, with our runway category being monster mashup. You giggle.
Okay,
this
honestly,
concept is so fun, though.
I'm sorry. Honestly, I laughed because I think Lawrence does deserve the win, because I just remembered something she said in the challenge.
Tell me.
When she's riding that little tricycle and it breaks, she goes, "Oh, crushed it." And also, honestly, maybe she did. The thing is, Ahura deserved to win last week. And I think the only reason I'm mad about Lawrence winning this week is because she won last week.
Sure.
But she was so funny this week too. And I just think, crushed it.
Okay, but one of my favorite parts was when Tia pulls out the glitter and Ahura goes, I love Sparkle.
Sparkle. Her accent, it felt like it was in this similar vein as Lemon's JoJo Siwa.
Yes! It's the upgraded version, the Evo. Okay, so what do you think about Monster Mashup?
Love Monster Mashup. No, this is super fun.
Love monsters.
It's one of those ones where it's like, of course the girlies are not going to get it right, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love anything spooky, monstrous. Give me Dragula.
Tops for you?
I don't remember if they liked it. I loved Ahura's.
Yeah.
I thought she looked great. My favorite though is fucking Lawrence. Lawrence's look is crazy.
Sort of leather face.
Yeah, I remember being so gagged by it the first time I saw it.
Are you still gagged?
I mean, I've seen a couple other interpretations now on Dragula.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, who did it?
We did have
Was
someone
it
do a leather
Saint
face.
that did that?
Maybe.
Someone did a really cool leather face look recently. A couple of them on Dragula, but this was the first time that I saw such a fashion thing. And I mean, it was Leatherface X Sweeney Todd, which I really appreciate both.
Good references.
But I think one that's not talked about enough is I think that Tia ate this week. And
Tia was
she
my top.
She looks so good. I don't think anyone gave her enough notice for how cool she looked and how like simple but really like effective and like kind of spooky and like
Tia was safe this week, so she didn't get
critiqued.
This is one of Tia's best looks.
She looks like
in
an
the
American Horror Story character.
She looks so cool. She looks like AHS mixed with Indiana Jones Temple of Doom.
Period. She's gonna take her nails and she's gonna cut your heart out.
Kalima.
Not you knowing the chant.
That's what they say.
You're in a cult. You're
I
the
am
devil.
in a cult. I'm in a cult for Harrison Ford's titties in that movie.
Listen,
only in that one.
But
but Veronica.
What about it?
Do you not live?
No, I hate it.
Oh my god,
You
I
live?
live. I mean, only because the prosthetic is so cool. It's a weird concept. It's very Doctor Who, if you remember when Martha and the Doctor were in New York and the Daleks were turning everyone into pig people.
Oh my god, I forgot about that episode.
Yeah. And they have Andrew Garfield there doing an American accent. He sounds like this the whole time, but he's not doing a good American accent.
I hate it.
It was very Doctor Who. The prosthetic.
Do you know what it gives me? I don't want to reference this transphobe's work, but when Hermione drinks the polyjuice potion, but there's cat fur in it, and she's the cat human, it's giving me like, oh, my pig's, I don't know.
My pig potion.
My pig's saliva got in the potion. Because it's giving me like weird like human pig hybrid, but then with the Medusa block on top.
This would have been better for Weird Science in season 1.
Oh my god, it's so Weird Science. No, I actually like that because I was going to say she looks like a weird like failed experiment.
Yeah, where maybe Crystal's look would have been better for Monster Mashup.
Period.
Because Crystal's was a little jigsaw-y to me.
I also, Taste is gorgeous.
I mean, Taste is
that Bride of Frankenstein.
always great. Yeah, I wrote her as one of my high favorites as well because I thought it was really luxe and pretty looking. And I mean, Taste never flops on that runway.
Yeah.
Lawrence does win the challenge, and at this point I'm feeling a little bit agitated about the very clear favoritism because it feels like favoritism watching it over again. I don't think in the moment it felt like that. Our bottom two is Sister and Ginny, and we get the very iconic Ginny Lemon with allegations of being an early out, bills paid, books, gigs booked.
Yeah.
She had one choice.
She said.
And she said, bye.
So good.
And Sister just like throwing her pussy all over that stage with the world's smallest ponytail.
Yeah, I was about to say that that underappreciated Tia confessional. She's like, she's whipping around the thinnest ponytail of her life. Because it's like funny because it's like Sister's not I wouldn't say she's slaying, but she's committed to the performance,
Yeah.
and I love that.
And she's staying in character.
It's similar to like in there's a circumstance in one of the international seasons that you're gonna watch soon where the queen ends up having to lip sync alone, and she's not a very good lip syncer, but it's more about like you're a good sport that you're doing this song alone, like kind of like in a celebratory way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. I mean, I don't think she realized that like she wasn't still up for elimination, but like there's something so silly about like she's kind of a mess out there, but she's a good sport because she's the only girl out there, and
Yeah.
she's doing her best, throwing herself around, flipping that ponytail around. Not an ounce of musicality to be found in her.
But you somehow live because she's just doing it.
That's the thing with her is like, I don't know. I think that like I come from a family where I think we all at least have decent rhythm and musicality, and you do, and like I think most people we know do. It's so jarring whenever you see someone where it's like you don't have any musicality or rhythm.
The beat is 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're
And it's
going
like-
7, 8.
And it's
1,
like you don't
4.
feel that shit in your bones.
You don't taste that?
You don't feel that like you don't feel it like course through you like Red Bull. Like I don't know.
Red Bull.
It's just so crazy when it's like someone is so disconnected from music as like people who like feel like you're very musical. I'm like I don't play any instruments, but I feel very connected to music and stuff.
Right.
It's so funny to see someone just like
Arms everywhere.
Yeah. But she slayed, and she was so committed. I love it. And I do love Sister Sister.
She's funny.
She's such a funny character this season because she's one of those girlies where it's like we know they're not going to win. You just kind of are waiting for them to go home. But they're such a wild card.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get from Sister Sister.
It's fascinating energy.
Yeah.
I'm not even mad at it at all.
No, I love watching her this season. I think she's a hoot and a half.
What do you think about Jenny walking out? Because that caused a ruckus.
I think it's hilarious. I think the way she did it is hilarious.
Iconique.
I think it's much better. I think it's harder with RuPaul there because there are a couple quits in international seasons, but even then the judge still tries to get them to leave. Or sorry,
To stay.
to get them to stay.
They want them to leave.
I think Ginny's is great because it's not asking to leave.
It's
She's
just doing it.
leaving.
Yeah.
Which I think is why it rubs some people the wrong way sometimes, because like Adore, like anyone else who quit, like, and I mean at least quit. Dela did the same thing where they basically said they're leaving, but they still did it respectfully. Ginny's was like, this isn't up for discussion. This isn't. I'm just leaving. It just feels very much a disregard to the rules of Drag Race, or like an irreverence, which I think is very exciting.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when other people quit, and sometimes especially nowadays it's younger queens who quit, which is interesting. It's almost because there's so much knowledge and reverence to the show that's like they also want to quit in the best way.
Yeah.
Whereas like with Ginny, it's just like, bye.
Right.
Like
I'm outta here.
laughing her way out. I think it's great. I love it.
Iconic. I do always think like, it does suck 'cause there's a lot of people who want to be here. But I also recognize if you want to go and you're ready, why fight for it?
Do you know,
If someone else wants it more
this
than you.
is so tricky. Do you know how they say like, oh, there's so many people who want to be here? Yeah, but they didn't get chosen.
Right. That is true.
That's like, I feel
weren't
like that's
picked.
so bitchy to say, but like, I don't know. That saying always bothers me when there's like, well, there's other people who want this spot, and they're like, yeah, but
they weren't picked for a reason.
But they picked Ginny because they wanted to see what Ginny had to offer, and then Ginny was over it, and Ginny left, and you saw what Ginny had to offer. So you still got what you got out of casting her. But I don't know. Whenever they say like there are other people who want this, but like I get there are a ton of people who it's like, oh, they were so close, but they're gonna get it soon. They're gonna get it in coming times. Like there's gonna be those Saphira Crystals out there,
Right.
But like I don't know. It's like
You hate that phrase.
Brenda in Missouri isn't like the one who like lost out.
Please
like,
welcome to the stage, Brenda in Missouri.
Like I just feel like it's silly because like everyone gets chosen for a reason, and even if they quit, that doesn't discredit their run there.
Right.
And if anything, I feel like it's part of it, and I don't think it's disrespectful to the other people who want to be there.
Yeah.
Because like at the end of the day, it's not about who wants to be there the most. It's about who is presenting what wants to be seen by those people.
Sure. I hear that. And I agree. We get the cold open for the next episode, which we're going to start, but we're not going to go through it. The cold open is the girls coming in. They're mad. They're hot that Ginny walked out. And then we get this long monologue from Veronica about how she's going to go all the way to the end. You insensitive bitch laughing at this. She's going to go all the way to the end. She's going to beat all of... I'm smiling ear to ear too because
you're about to laugh. Don't judge me just because we're hidden behind the microphones. Don't even try it.
She's going to make it all the way to the end. She's going to prove them all wrong. They're all disregarding her. They're sleeping on her.
She's absolutely positive.
And she is positive that she's making it to the end. And the room mail goes off saying that they got to get the fuck out of there. The lady said go home because COVID's happening. And we see them in real time hearing about COVID-19. They didn't know about this. Why are you laughing? I know I'm laughing, but why are you laughing?
I was making a really dark side joke when I said she's absolutely positive. Speaking of COVID. She was absolutely positive, girl.
We're gonna go to jail.
But isn't that crazy? Because I remember also watching a clip of Big Brother where the cast was like basically had to be sat down and explain like a virus has broken out. Like this amount of the population has been affected. Lockdowns are happening in these countries. Like, and these people being like, "What the fuck?" Like
thinking it's got to be a Rickroll or a prank or something.
Because like I remember watching it unfold in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching the news very closely and being like, "Oh my god, Tom Hanks got it," and then like all this shit started happening. But like, if you're not there watching the day-to-day news. Like, I don't know. Because, like, we're still recovering from it as a nation. Like, we've never experienced something like that in our generation.
Right.
Especially with this group of young people.
Mm-hmm.
We've never experienced life coming to a halt like that for, like, means beyond our control. At least in the U.S. I mean, I can't speak for other, but that's just so crazy. So to not have... the progression of it and to not be clued into the day-to-day like these cases are showing up here, this person got it, like this might actually be serious, places might start closing down because it's like before we had lockdown I already was at work hearing like they might. I was working at a mall at the time. It was like they might shut down like the shopping center, like stuff like that. So it's like I was already at least somewhat clued in. But like that must have been kind of jarring and like traumatic in its own way to find out about that in such a abrupt way. Yeah,
well, and then to have to see everything that you're doing, put your whole life on hold, not knowing when you're going to come back, and being right in the middle of competition, wondering if I come back, am I still going to be in the same place mentally? What if I go home and freak out?
I was literally just thinking about it. Do you know what the only thing I can compare it to? If you've ever pulled an all-nighter working on something, if at 3 a.m. someone came to you and said, you have to go to bed right now. Like, oh my God, the power got shut off, blackout. You can't do what you're working on anymore. Say you were sewing something and it was an overnighter. Blackout, you can't use your sewing machine. You can't see anything. You have to go to bed. When you're planning on being up until 8 a.m. to finish this thing. It's like because I know for me, like I struggle a lot with motivation and like getting in a headspace where you are doing something like that, like mentally preparing to have it interrupted, essentially, that fucks you up.
Yeah, completely. And I couldn't imagine what that would feel like in real time, finding out in that moment, and then having to mentally prepare. I'm done. The reason why I was smiling and giggling about the Veronica thing is not because it's sad that I'm definitely upset that she didn't get to come back, but because like Veronica was really certain that she was going to be the one to
She was the one.
make it all the way to the end. Like, I believe Veronica would have been home in Bing Bang Bong.
Oh my god.
Like, if the competition had kept going, she would have been out in Rue Revision. That would have been over for her. There's no way that she would have survived that. She doesn't. I mean, yeah, she was good in the rusical, but she doesn't have a lot of rhythm. She's a little disconnected. I think it would have been her and Sister, and I think Sister would have sent her home.
I'm curious to see how it would have played out, because part of me wonders, like, I feel like she could have challenged, like, she was the only one that had like a bit of a theatricalness in Lawrence's lane that could have challenged it, because I think a part of what made Lawrence continue to thrive is she was surrounded by a lot more contemporary queens that her lane can continue to stay unique.
Yeah.
For the rest of the competition. And not that her and Veronica are in the same lane, but I think that Veronica could have challenged her in certain places throughout the competition where her absence was like, we never saw that. But I just feel like Lawrence didn't really have anyone to challenge her for the rest of the competition other than herself. Because I mean, even though she had her rivalry with Ellie, that was more emotional. Their drag is not similar
At all.
At all. So yeah, Lawrence was kind of unchallenged in that regard, and I think she needed someone to be a bit of a foil to her.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end. Unfortunately, can't talk anymore. Believe it? We're on COVID lockdown.
Oh yeah,
now officially. COVID. The other thing to me is that 13 was all post lockdown, so then we go into a new season where we're before the lockdown.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that happen
with our COVID eyes.
That flashback to before times. Thought that was interesting that made it into the final edit and they just didn't redo the season or something somehow. You know?
I think it's interesting. I think the break is one of the most fascinating things that happened in Drag Race, because it really improved that whole the season was already amazing, and then like
it gets better.
Yeah. Surprisingly.
So I shared my controversial hot take. Do you have any before we end?
I mean, I kind of shared it. I feel like I feel like it hopefully wasn't too bitchy. What I said about Ginny quitting, like, I don't think it's like disrespectful to other people. Like,
I feel that.
I think that like also like people quitting are good TV in their own right.
Right.
And like, yes, it's a competition, but it's also reality TV. And I feel like you're very much like, you see the competition and I see the reality TV. And like, I feel like people quitting is like such a great moment in any competition series. That it should be enjoyed and should be appreciated, and it's good TV, so I'm not mad about it. I don't really have any other like
spicy takes.
Yeah, because I think everyone thinks Ahura should have won the sewing challenge,
right?
You know,
I think she should have won the acting challenge.
Does no one over the age of like 35 do drag in the UK?
Charlie Hyde's used to.
Well, she sings live. I just was thinking, like, there's really just so many young people on Drag Race UK. That's not a hot take either, but anyways.
Maybe Rue just doesn't want to see them.
Ageist.
Yeah. Rue says young queens only. No olds.
No. By old.
By old.
I can be the only old.
Well, thank you all for listening. We are going to wrap up. Theoretically, we're going to wrap up next week. With UK Part 3. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember, you're doing a fantastic job. You're doing the best you can, and that is all you can do. Goodbye.
Bye.